Atomic Habits by James Clear, an immersive audiobook-style summary. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a breath. Now ask yourself one question. Why do I keep doing things I don't want to do and stop doing things I know are good for me? The answer, according to one of the most celebrated books on human behavior, lies not in your willpower, your genetics, or your motivation, but in something far smaller, far more powerful, and hiding in plain sight: your habits. Welcome to Atomic Habits, a journey that will fundamentally change how you see yourself and what you're capable of becoming. Part 1. The Boy Who Fell and the Man He Became. The Origin Story. Picture this. It's a perfectly ordinary afternoon in a high school gymnasium. A baseball bat flies through the air, and it doesn't fly to a player. It flies directly into the face of a 16-year-old boy named James Clear. Fractured skull, shattered eye sockets, a broken nose, multiple seizures, medically induced coma, life support. This is where the story of Atomic Habits begins, not with a morning routine or a productivity app, but with a teenager fighting to breathe. When James eventually recovered, he had lost his chance at baseball stardom. He was cut from the varsity team as a junior, a humiliating blow for someone who had dreamed of going professional. He sat in his car and wept. But here is where the magic begins. Instead of chasing one dramatic breakthrough, James did something that felt almost embarrassingly small. He started going to bed a little earlier. He kept his dorm room a little tidier. He began lifting weights a few times a week. 6 years after that bat shattered his face, James Clear was named the top male athlete at Denison University and selected for the ESPN Academic All-America team. He didn't make one defining choice. He made thousands of tiny ones, and they compounded into something extraordinary. Changes that seem small and unimportant at first will compound into remarkable results if you're willing to stick with them. Part 2. The Maths of Tiny Gains. The Surprising Power of Atomic Habits. In 2003, British cycling was a joke. No British rider had won the Tour de France in 110 years. Manufacturers refused to sell them bikes, fearing it would damage their brand. Then a man named Dave Brailsford arrived with a simple, almost absurd philosophy: improve everything by just 1%. Everything. Better bike seats, alcohol-rubbed tires, heated overshorts, the perfect pillow for each rider. They even painted the inside of the team truck white to spot dust on the bikes more easily. 5 years later, British cycling dominated the 2008 Beijing Olympics, winning 60% of available gold medals. Then came 5 Tour de France victories in 6 years, and 178 world championships in a decade. The arithmetic of self-improvement. Here is the most startling calculation in the book, one that should stop you in your tracks. Get 1% better every day for 1 year. 1.01 to the power of 365 equals 37.78 times better. Get 1% worse every day for 1 year. 0.99 to the power of 365 equals 0.03. Nearly zero. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Just as money quietly multiplies in a savings account, your daily behaviors quietly multiply in your life, invisibly, relentlessly, until one day the results arrive all at once, and people call it an overnight success. The plateau of latent potential. Imagine an ice cube sitting on a table in a cold room. The temperature rises from 25 degrees to 26 degrees to 27 degrees to 31 degrees. The ice cube just sits there, unchanged. Nothing seems to be happening. Then, 32 degrees. The ice begins to melt. One seemingly identical degree, but this one unlocks everything. This is what James Clear calls the plateau of latent potential, the frustrating valley where your work seems invisible. You've been running every day for a month and see nothing in the mirror. You've been practicing guitar for weeks and still sound terrible. The temptation to quit is overwhelming. But your work is not wasted. It is stored, like heat, waiting for the moment it tips. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Part 3. Who are you becoming? How habits shape identity, and vice versa. Two people are offered a cigarette at a party. The first says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." The second says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." The words sound similar. The psychology behind them is worlds apart. The first person is battling a craving. The second person has changed their identity. And according to James Clear, this is the secret at the very heart of lasting change. Most people try to change their outcomes, lose weight, earn more money, write a book. But true transformation begins at a deeper layer, who you believe you are. The 3 layers of change. Think of behavior change like the layers of an onion. Layer 1, outcomes, what you get. Lose 10 kilos, write a novel, earn a promotion. Layer 2, processes, what you do. Your systems, routines, and habits. Layer 3, identity, who you believe you are, your values, assumptions, and self-image. Most people start from the outside in. They set a goal, outcome, and hope their behavior follows. James Clear argues the magic works from the inside out. Start with identity, and the behavior flows naturally. Every action is a vote. Here is one of the most beautiful ideas in the book. Every time you perform a habit, you cast a vote for the type of person you want to become. Go to the gym once, 1 vote for being an athlete. Write a single sentence, 1 vote for being a writer. Miss a workout, 1 vote against. You don't need a unanimous victory. You just need to win the majority. And over time, as the votes accumulate, you won't just be trying to become someone new, you will be someone new. The goal is not to read a book. The goal is to become a reader. The goal is not to run a marathon. The goal is to become a runner. Part 4. The loop that runs your life. In 1898, a psychologist named Edward Thorndike put cats inside puzzle boxes. The cats thrashed around desperately, clawing, sniffing, poking, until by accident, they hit the lever that opened the door to food. Over and over, Thorndike repeated the experiment, and something fascinating happened. The cats got faster, much faster. Random thrashing became a smooth, direct action, a habit. From these experiments came the foundation of everything James Clear teaches, the 4-step feedback loop that governs every habit you have ever formed. The 4 stages. 1. Cue, the trigger, a piece of information that predicts a reward. Your phone buzzes, you smell coffee, the clock hits 3 p.m., your brain snaps to attention. 2. Craving, the motivational force. You don't crave the habit itself. You crave the change in feeling it delivers: relief, pleasure, calm, connection. This is the engine of every behavior. 3. Response, the actual habit, a thought or action. It only happens if it's easy enough and you're capable. Friction determines everything. 4. Reward, the payoff. It satisfies the craving and teaches your brain, remember this, do this again. The loop is complete, and next time it fires even faster. Remove any one of these 4 stages and a habit collapses. Eliminate the cue and the habit never starts. Remove the reward and it never repeats. This is powerful because it means you can architect your habits by engineering each stage. Part 5. The 4 laws of behavior change, your complete playbook. From the four-stage habit loop, James Clear extracts four elegant, actionable laws. Two sets of mirrors, one for building habits you want, one for dismantling habits you don't. Law 1. Make it obvious. A paramedic once attended a family gathering and immediately told her father-in-law, "You need to go to hospital, now." He thought she was joking. Hours later, he was in surgery. She had spotted the signs of a blocked artery, invisible to others, because her brain had been trained through thousands of patient encounters to notice cues automatically. Most habits operate the same way, invisibly, non-consciously. So the first step to change is radically simple. Become aware. Implementation intentions. Research shows people who plan their habits with a specific time and place are dramatically more likely to follow through. The formula is simple. I will behavior at time in location. Habit stacking. Chain a new habit onto an existing one. After current habit, I will new habit. Law 2. Make it attractive. Here is something scientists discovered that will change how you think about habits. When your brain anticipates a reward, it releases dopamine. Not when you receive the reward, when you anticipate it. The wanting fires before the getting. This means the key to making habits stick is making them feel appealing before you start. The strategy, temptation bundling. Pairing something you need to do with something you genuinely enjoy. Only allow yourself to listen to your favorite podcast while you exercise. Only watch your guilty pleasure show while you fold laundry. The habit becomes the ticket to the treat. Culture matters deeply here. We are tribal creatures, and we naturally gravitate toward behaviors that make us look good in the eyes of those around us. Surround yourself with people who already have the habits you want, and those habits will feel desirable, normal, obvious. Law 3. Make it easy. The law of least effort is one of nature's great governing principles. Given two options, living organisms will almost always choose the path of least resistance. This isn't laziness, this is intelligence, and you can use it. The 2-minute rule. When starting a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Want to read more? Read 1 page. Want to meditate? Sit quietly for 2 minutes. Want to exercise? Put on your gym clothes. The point is not the 2 minutes. The point is showing up. You cannot improve a habit you never start. Design your environment for success. Want to eat less junk food? Don't buy it. Want to play guitar more? Leave the guitar in the middle of the room, not in a case in a cupboard. Want to floss? Put the floss next to your toothbrush. Every bit of friction you remove makes the good habit more likely, and every bit of friction you add makes the bad habit less likely. Law 4. Make it satisfying. We are wired for immediate rewards. Our prehistoric ancestors needed to respond to threats and opportunities now, not months later. This means any habit with a delayed payoff will always fight an uphill battle against our ancient neurology. The solution: create immediate satisfaction. Use a habit tracker. Physically marking an X on a calendar each time you complete a habit delivers a tiny burst of dopamine. After months of effort, do not let the streak break. Missing once is human. Missing twice is the beginning of a new, unwanted habit. For breaking bad habits, invert each law. Make the cue invisible, the craving unattractive, the behavior difficult, and the reward unsatisfying. It sounds simple, and it is. That's the point. Part 6. From Good to Great. The Goldilocks Rule and the Downside of Mastery. Scientists studying motivation have discovered something counterintuitive. Humans experience peak motivation not when challenges are easy and not when they are overwhelming, but when they are right at the edge of your current ability. James Clear calls this the Goldilocks Rule. Not too hard, not too easy, just right. But there is a darker truth to confront too. When you've been practicing a habit long enough, it becomes automatic, which means it also becomes mindless. The professional who has done their craft for decades may stop improving because habit has replaced deliberate attention. Excellence requires the marriage of automatic consistency with conscious refinement. Never stop reflecting. The only way to become excellent is to be endlessly fascinated by doing the same thing over and over again. Conclusion: the secret that lasts a lifetime, the ending that is really a beginning. There is no finish line, no moment when you've built enough good habits and can finally relax. That would be like saying you've eaten enough healthy meals to stop worrying about food forever. Life is not a destination. It is an ongoing system. And your habits are not a project. They are a practice. The true promise of Atomic Habits is not that you will achieve any single goal. It is that you will become the kind of person who naturally achieves the things that matter to you, because the habits are built into who you are. A boy lay unconscious in a hospital, kept alive by machines. He couldn't walk straight. He couldn't drive. He didn't know what year it was. He had no reason to believe he would become anything exceptional. But he made his bed. He went to sleep early. He lifted a weight. And then he did it again, and again, and again. You have all the same power. The only question is, what will you do with your next 2 minutes? Success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformations. James Clear, Atomic Habits. Quick reference, your habit playbook. To build a good habit, make it obvious. Use implementation intentions. Stack habits. Design your environment. Make it attractive. Bundle temptations. Join a culture where it's normal. Make it easy. Reduce friction. 2-minute rule. Prepare your environment. Make it satisfying. Immediate reward. Habit tracker. Never miss twice. To break a bad habit, make it invisible. Remove the cue from your environment. Make it unattractive. Reframe the downsides. Understand what you truly lose. Make it difficult. Increase friction. Add steps. Create a commitment device. Make it unsatisfying. Get an accountability partner. Make failure public. End of summary. Based on Atomic Habits by James Clear, 2018.